somebody who ended up telling him that, like, oh, they were probably fighting, and so Will only writes nice things about Loud Out when they fight, you know. So just be careful when you allow people into your home, even, you know, into your home, into your relationship, your friends that you keep around, because you don't know what people are wishing for you underneath the surface. You know?
Yeah, that's true, because, you know,
John's mom told us that one time.
Yeah, like she was like, don't let no one, you know, come in between us, because I always gonna be, you know, jealousy.
Yeah.
And like I remember when I was, you know, before I was gonna propose to, you know, I told certain people. I had a few people that was like, man, hey, I like her, I love her. That's the one for you, you know. Then I had some that was like, you sure? You know, I feel like it's a little too quick, you know. But, you know, as time went by, they was like, yeah, I see it now. You know, sometimes it takes people to see it, but it is people out here that's like, you know, very, not even want to see the relationship mess up, but they envy because they don't have that, you know.
And that does damage. That subconsciously does damage to you, to your relationship. So, like, me and Will, we that's also been a learning thing for us, a learning that we've had to learn that skill, how to, like, just keep people's opinions and, like, to not even care about them, because, like, in the beginning, in the very, very beginning, when we were weak, when we weren't in a relationship yet, it like, almost broke us. This is one of the things he was talking about. And thank God we, like, were able to sit down and come together and rise above it. But it's always been, like, a constant thing. People just love coming into our relationships and, like, talking about us. And I just don't understand why. I guess it's because they think that, you know, we're perfect. Like, I guess we're trying to put out a persona about being perfect, but we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We've never been perfect.
Not to be negative, Nancy, but, like, to be real. Like, because this podcast is about being real and as real as possible. But, like, do you ever feel, because, like, yes, you and I are Dominican, so we're a minority regardless. But do you feel like... No, I'm good, thank you. Do you feel like that maybe some people look down at our relationships? Because, you know, we're both Spanish and we both have husbands who are of African descent. Do you feel like there's some kind of, like, hatred, like, towards it because you're dating someone who isn't of your quote unquote, like, race or whatever?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, not now, not anymore, but just on both ends, Spanish and from African American. Like, we would walk down the street and black girls would be looking at me crazy, right? Well,
yeah,
like,
I mean, that's
insane.
That's, you know, that's part of it. That's part of being in a, you know, interracial relationship, because that's never going to change.
Yeah, I mean, and it's sad.
And that's sad because it's like you would think, like, after, like, you know, like it wasn't the first, but, like, the Loves were the ones who broke that law against marrying interracially. Like, she was a black woman, he was a white man, and they got married. It was like a whole big deal. And you would think that after all of this, like, you know, now we would be a little bit more open to interracial relationships, but even still, like that, like.
And you know what? Even when people try to compliment it, it's rude. The other day, I was in the supermarket with the baby, and this guy came up to me, and he was like, "Is your baby mixed?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, your kids are going to be beautiful then." Like, okay, yeah, you're calling my kids beautiful, but then you're like, it was kind of like he was
if
saying,
they weren't mixed,
you know,
they're not gonna be beautiful.
Right. So it's like this stereotype, like, oh, you know, now interracial couples make really pretty babies, and like, you know, that's why they're getting together. You know, it made me feel, it just wasn't a compliment to me, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Like, get away from my child. You know. Yeah. Remember I told you that when I got home? It was rude.
I mean, for me, you know, it's like, I already knew going into a relationship. I want to get crazy, like, I don't want to change the whole subject of this whole podcast.
Nah, that could be part of the subject. We're going to have it as
you know, being a black man, it's like, you're used to certain things anyway. growing up, it's like second nature, to feel racism in certain situations. Mm-hmm. So it's like I already knew that was going to be, part of our relationship, is having to deal with stuff like that. Like, I deal with it all the time. Like, just the other day, we was at the airport. There's stuff that I see that, like, nobody else even notices.
He would not tell me because I'm go psycho.
Yeah, it's just part of it. It's part of it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a black man in America. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. But, like, we was in the airport, and we was on our way to Florida. Mm-hmm. So, dude is standing there, and he works for the airline. Yeah. And he's in charge of like checking the tickets or whatever. So Laura and both the kids, go. He checks the boarding pass. So I'm literally standing next to Laura. Mm-hmm. Like we ain't holding hands, but like I'm legit standing next to her. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Sir, can I see your boarding pass?" And I'm like. And I just ignore him because I'm annoyed. Like, dude, you see I'm standing with her. Like, what are you talking about? And it wasn't even a situation where he had to check every single boarding. It wasn't. I don't even think it was the boarding pass. It was like we were actually going to get the tickets and check the bags in. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of keep walking. I didn't even say anything to him. So he's like, he says it again. Like, can I see your pass? And then I just start chuckling, and Laura turns around, and the guy's like, "Oh, is he with you?" But like, it was just you just sense things, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you see we're together, like we're together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to play dumb. Like, you know that we're together, but it's like, people just it's little things like that. It's because it's not always gonna be like a blatant, like in your face racist, like boom. You know what I mean? Most of the time, it's going to be, like, very subtle, But I peep things like that. Yeah. And you didn't even notice that. No. But I did.
Because I was in such a rush. I didn't
like little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, you see we're a family. Like, you see I'm here with my wife and my kids. Like,
and it's so hard for me because when I see Will, I don't see color. I'm like, oh, I'm not over here like, I'm with a black man. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. I'm with my husband.
And, me growing up, Miami, New York, the same thing. It's blacks, Hispanics, all. So like growing up in Miami, like I never seen color because when my grandparents stay at, it's pretty much how I live. It's like a whole bunch of Cubans and Puerto Ricans over there. So it's like I was raised in different environments and stuff. So like with me, you black, Spanish, you Asian, whatever.
You
like
can be.
You're just a person.
My whole thing is that if your character, if you positive, that's what it means. That's what it, for me, that's what matters at the end of the day. Be positive. And like, I see, like when me and Sadery go out, like I do see all the time, like, the men and the women like will look at us,
I'll tell him too. I'll be like, you saw her looking at you, like she need to stop looking
Sometimes
at
I don't even pay attention.
I do.
But I like...
I don't let it get to me, but I know, like, you kind of tend to be observant when you're out in the street. Like, it's something that just, for me, as a teacher, I tend to, like, I picked up what I do in the classroom in my personal life. Yeah. So, like, I have to be focused in my class about everything that's going on. I have to see what's going on this side and the left and the right and up and front. Yeah. So, I tend to do that in real life. So, when I could just be with John, I could just be talking with him, and, like, my mind is going into 3 different sections because I'm being observant, and I get that from my dad too.
I think that happens in our family because
we're also very observant. Yeah. So like I tend to pick up on things that he might not see, and I see like the girls that will like stop by and like I play a little joke and I'd be like, they're just looking at you because it's sexy or whatever, and they don't know that you was nice, but it's okay. But like. It gets annoying after a while, too.
It's really annoying. I mean, when me and Will were dating, when I was pregnant, it's the only reason it didn't turn into this big thing. I was at a club with one of my friends who was, she was modeling then, so I was, like, accompanying her. And so I told him to meet up with me. And we were in the VIP area, and he came up with just one of his boys. And there was another crew behind us, and they were, like, 20, 30 people deep. Yeah. So So, you know, I'm with Will pretty much the whole night. And this girl came up behind me at one point when Will had like stepped away, and she spilled her drink on me. Like,
dang.
Mind you, I'm pregnant. There's 20, 30 people with them. Mm-hmm. Will and his boy are the only ones that are with us. So I could have either reacted really crazy, you know, and I didn't. I was just like, you know, I'm going to laugh at this and I'm going to keep it moving. But, like, it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, like,
and you know, and, like, with me, like, I'm a very historical person. Like, I know Sadery, you know, she's Dominican, she's Hispanic. Sometimes I tend to forget because it's like, you know, in reality, you know, we all come from Africa. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, with me, like...
We say that all the time.
Yeah, y'all was just another stop.
You know...
It's so true, though.
But then...
It's so true.
But then... Yeah, but then it'd be days when I'd be like, my future wife is Dominican, and, you know, it's... To me... The positive thing about being in an interracial relationship is that knowing that, like, you know, wow, like, you know, I get to learn more about her culture because I went to school with the Dominicans, but I never really interacted. I did, but I wasn't like I never met their family and stuff, so I never knew how a Dominican household was ran.
He went to his first Dominican baby shower. He's like, the men are in here too. And he the men are in the baby shower, and like everybody's drinking and having fun. And it's like, what?
Yeah, because most of the time, like most black folks, like baby showers, the men aren't there. Unless, like, all right, it's my sister, I'll slide through for a minute, then I leave. But, you know, I think it's a Caribbean thing because my sister... When she had her baby shower, like, all the men was there and stuff like that, you know, so...
Well, no, because I agree. Like, growing up, baby showers was always, like, you know, for the women. You know? But, I mean, listen, I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood. Like, my high school, we had everybody. Yeah. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, blacks, white people, Asian. Whatever. You name it. We had it. You know what I mean? That's just how Teamdrg is. So it's like, you know, some of my best friends are white. Like, literally, like, to this day. Dudes that I grew up with. You know, from when I was in middle school. And we still blessed to still be friends to this day. You know, one of my best friends is a white dude. You know what I mean? But, like, that's my brother. Like, that's my man. Like... One of my other friends is you know, I have friends from Iran. Like, I have a lot of diverse friends. So it's like, you know, I never really, you know, looked at, you know, like, oh, I can only date a black girl. Like, that's crazy to me. That just sounds crazy because, like, I didn't grow up like that. But a lot of people did. Like, a lot of people are not from diverse places. So it's like, you know, that's all they know. But no, it's a blessing, man. You got to learn about what this world has to offer. Like, love who you love, man. Yeah. You know? Love who you love at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. Like, I love the fact that I'm married to a Dominican woman. I get to eat sancocho.
What?
Like, I get mango. Like, I wouldn't get none of that. Now, I'm being funny, but seriously, like, there's so many perks to just, you know, knowing a different culture. You know what I mean? Like... There's so much in this world, like, culture-wise.
Yeah, the same for me. Like, I've learned so much of, you know, Black history.
So they're out here frying chicken. Like, that's crazy. Like, you know? But no, there's a lot.
Like, the same for me. Like, Johnny's family is part American, part Bahamian. So, like, now, not only am I getting to see, like, the Bahamian side, like, I'm eating conch and I'm eating, like, you know, conch fritters and stuff like that, and then I'm dancing like to the jackanoo, but then I'm also like frying chicken and eating mac and cheese,
collard greens.
Before I got, you know,
eating dressing, yo, Thanksgiving has never been the same after dressing.
Thanksgiving is definitely crazy. It's like super international in our household. But Will's mom just recently gave me an African dress with like everything on it, you know, all the like.
That dress is popular.
It's beautiful. I cannot wait to wear it. I just don't know where I'm going to wear it because it's like, you know, the traditional you know, and I tied it on, and it's perfect.